Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your closing bell for Wednesday, March 2nd, 2022. What a day we've had here. Started off late morning, 11 a.m., with the one, the only Mr. Bernie Fratto, who we had on last Friday, a gentleman who works with for Fox Sports Radio, someone that was in the fires in '94. He gave us his outlook on Friday, and he was spot on. And he came on this morning to give us the reasons why the deal wasn't made and what to expect moving forward. There was some good, I thought, some okay news. The fact that he thinks that they'll be back at it early next week with the possibility of potentially missing the month of April and starting up right in the beginning of May, but we're still holding out hope. Maybe it's only 1 or 2 weeks of these games that are missed. We shall see. Then at 1 o'clock our time, we crossed the border with our buddy Andrew McGinnis at Wager Talk and McGinnis Picks, talking some NHL hockey and our trip that's coming up in less than 2 weeks to Vegas. Shout out to my man, Mr. Marty Lowe from Alabama. Marty, how the hell are you? You are missed. Mac Jones is staying with the Patriots. You don't have to worry there. So tell them, shame on them for creating clickbait and false news. Yes, Bama minus 10 looks a tad high tonight. We will definitely get into that game as well. So without further ado, let's bring in the man from the Palm Tree State, the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Scott E. Webb. Good afternoon, Scott.
How are you, Mr. Jeff?
I am pretty damn tired. I've been up early this morning and knew we had a busy day in front of us. Not that any day is different, but trying to work on my golf for tea time tomorrow and trying to get out a release for the PGA and the clients. But that's another story. I didn't go on my initial vent. Anyone that was here last night, 2-0 box to wire, pretty easy night in the NHL. We were on the right side of Columbus Blue Jackets. We were on the right side of Calgary. The two college games that I talked about, I still don't know how we didn't win the Vandy game. Up 8 with 3 minutes to go, up 5 with a minute to go. Then they go turnover. Florida hits a 3 to take the lead, and Scottie Pippen's son clanks a 1-1. He's an 80% free throw shooter. So we lose that one. And then Purdue was kind of a classic. Minus 2.5. Playing grab ass back and forth the whole game. Wisconsin in the last minute hits a 3-pointer off the glass and take the lead. Purdue matches them and ties it. And then Wisconsin says, okay, we'll get you again. Another 3 off the glass with 1 second left to win the game. But the good news is we have Wisconsin plus 300 to win the Big Ten. But anyways, how was your day? I don't know if you were able to catch up and listen to what Bernie had to say. He talked about the wide gaps. He talked about the tax. And I even asked him, I says, what the hell does it matter when only 3 teams really meet the luxury tax? It's kind of comical for the fact that last year he said the Dodgers and the Padres were the only 2 to get over that luxury tax. The Sox, the Yankees, and a couple other were like $2-3 million less. And then he talked about the pool, and then he talked about the minimum salary raising and the 14 teams versus the 12. But all in all, it was positive. He thinks they're not gonna sit out 2 weeks before they talk again. He thinks they'll be back at it soon. So you had a night to sleep on it. What are you thinking?
Well, I think the same thing I thought yesterday for the most part, other than I'm probably more reinforced. I think that after kind of putting it together, I think the players have been smashed in these CBA negotiations for the last 2 or 3 CBAs. And I think they tried to get it all back in one shot. And I think that I think that the truth is they want a lot of things that they're not going to get, and I think that they should have and should take what was being offered. I guess the best way I think this is that everybody's on the side of the players. Just everybody you turn around, they're all on the side of the players, and they're all getting unfair contracts. They're not getting treated fairly, and all this shit. That's all bullshit, by the way. Anyway, that being said, I'm getting blasted in Twitter, by the way, because I am now a shill for the owners, by the way. Just so you know. Anyway, my thoughts is that every single thing that the players wanted, the owners gave them. And some of the things they gave them things they've never had before at all, ever. And for the players, it wasn't enough. They wanted more. And I will say this, I do get, and I understand, and I think that this is the negotiation piece that needs to be fixed, is the luxury tax. And the luxury tax needs to be fixed in I think this way. So the players view it as, if it's $215 million is the luxury tax, and anything over the luxury tax that you spend, then the smaller market teams get to share in that fine. And that's how you're supposed to share some of the money around, so that the smaller mid-market teams have the ability to compete. So what's been happening is that the big teams have come up to that $215 million number and said, I ain't going over it. And now it's acting like a cap, and it's not meant to be a cap. It's supposed to say, hey, go spend as much money as you want, but we need to keep the competitive balance amongst the smaller market teams and the big teams. So that was where that penalty came in. So now I think the best way to handle this is to say, okay, we're going to say and apply a penalty to spending over $215 million, whatever that is. But we're not going to give you any sort of max type penalties until you get over $250 million. So there's a gap there that says, okay, all these teams that spend, if they go up to $250 million, then over that threshold number, or an incremental increase over the whatever the immediate threshold number is to actually have that tax threshold kick in, I think is the best way to go. The reason is because then teams will say, oh, I can go ahead and spend over this $215 million and whatever the fine is the fine, and it's not that big a deal. But if I get over $250 million on my salary, then I'm going to have a bigger chunk that I got to pay, and I don't want to necessarily pay over that. So it allows the teams that have been bordered by that $215 million to go through it and pay a luxury tax, if you want to call it that, so that the smaller market teams can compete. And I think that the players would accept that. And I also think that the ownership would accept that. And I think that we would have a deal.
I asked him about ceilings, floors, and he brought up the fact that Garrett Cole making like 35, 36, 37 million, whatever he was making, literally almost matched like the 40 million of the Orioles total payroll last year. And they're in the same division. I'm not even saying the American League versus the National, it's the same damn division. How do you expect them to compete? I asked them, and I'll ask you the same thing. I get the luxury tax, and they think, the players think that they're manipulating. They're saying, if we can get the luxury tax up to 250 instead of 215, that's an extra 35 million that these players are going to spend. I mean, these owners are going to spend. The same as the 14 team versus the 12 team playoff format. As you said yesterday, if I know my team's projected to win 96 games, and I know it's only going to take me 88 to 90 to get in the playoffs, why am I going to spend the extra 10 million When I know we're going to get in there, I can save that versus going out to get Scott Webb at the trading deadline and rent him for a half a year. Okay. So I'm going to ask you this analysis, and this might be apples and oranges, and you might look at me like I'm totally crazy here, but let's take it this way. You own a local hardware store. Your parents did, and your parents' parents did. Okay. And the town wants to bring in a Home Depot. Okay. Why in holy hell would, other than the true loyal people, go to your hardware store anymore, which is a great hardware store? I'm not knocking it. When you can go to a Home Depot. Same with a pet grooming store versus a pet store. The fact of the matter is, they're apples and oranges. The Pirates, the Orioles, the spending. When you're talking 250, when these guys are spending 40, 50, 60, how is that fair? Why can't there be a salary cap where at least, hey, I don't expect the Royals, the Orioles to spend $220 million, but you got to spend at least $100 million. I don't get it.
So now you understand the owner's point of view. So in these negotiations, you have 30 owners, and you have roughly, let's just say 10 of the 30, or let's say 12 of the 30 are in mid markets to smaller markets. And those guys are trying to compete with the big boys. And those guys are also trying to figure out how do I stay relevant and competitive when I can't pay as much as what everybody else does because I don't make as much. So when a deal gets done on the CBA, and you're talking about these competitive situations and luxury taxes, and you're talking about trying to bring the bottom of the salaried teams to a competitive level, there has to be some kind of way to share in some of that, I don't know, revenue to a degree. So this is the avenue that they've gone and the avenue they've went. And hence, when players go and say, I want $700,000 as a minimum annual salary, I want this bonus pool, I want this CBA luxury, CBT, the luxury tax to be at $250 million. These guys that are in that 7 to 10 to 12 owners go, wait. That puts me out. I can't compete anymore. So I'm not going to sign off on this deal. So then you end up with 30 owners, and it takes 23 of the owners to ratify a deal. So when you have these guys in that room, you have some of them who are okay with everything that's going on. And then you got these 7 to 10 to 12 other guys that are going, this doesn't work. You have to protect me to be able to compete. If I'm the Royals and I got to go compete with the Yankees, or I got to go compete with teams that spend the money, the Red Sox and everybody else, I got to find a way. And I don't have the same kind of, I'm fighting a deficit from the very beginning. So we've got to level that playing field. And I don't think that the players really care about any of that. They look at it like, here's what the players think. The players think that every single solitary team is making billions of dollars. That's what they think. And I told you before, this David Sampson guy, and I just retweeted a tweet that he gave out. Again, I'm right on the page. Where's my profile? Let me find out what I did and what he said. He said this. Shit, no, I can't find him. I got too many damn things I retweeted. Anyway, he says, you know what's interesting and what's funny about all of these things is that everybody, oh, here it is. David Sampson, former Marlins and Expos team president. And remember, I met the guy, know the guy. He says, paraphrasing the best I can, I know the Lerners are very rich people, but the Washington Nationals lose money more years than they make money. Don't tell me that these teams aren't doing what you think that they ought to do. And I told you this before. The owners write these teams off. These aren't there for them to They don't care about whether they go to the World Series. Most of them don't care if they win. They just want to write off the money that they spend on these so that they get a better tax break on their real business. That's what they want. So the truth is that it doesn't matter if you own the Pittsburgh Pirates. You just don't have the ability to spend the money like everybody else does. And what your write-off looks like is totally different than what other people's. And when you're running your business, some guys sit here and go, I'm going to go in the hole, I don't know, $50 million this year, but I need that because I got a whole big profit going on the other side. And then the guy that runs the Pirates might go, well, I'm having a bad year on the other side. I need to make a little bit of money on this side. So because I need to make a little bit of money on the Major League Baseball side, I can't afford to write this off. I need to have some profit. So if they need to make some profit, guess what they're going to do? They're going to stay within the budgets. So now you end up having these 10 guys, these 7 guys that own these teams that are in a position where, okay, I'm at a cross between what do I do? I need to make money over here, so I got to run it like a real business. The other guys are sitting here going, shit, I don't care what happens. It doesn't matter to me. Go spend $250 million. Here, the guy for the Mets, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, he comes in and buys the Mets. And what does he do? He goes out and buy and gets Scherzer and pays him $8 billion. He goes and pays Lindor $8 billion, right? And he signed somebody else this offseason. I can't remember who it is, but he has gone and spent the money. And because he has gone and he has spent the money, he's one of those guys that you sit there and you go, holy shit, what is going on with where did all this money come from? And it's because, where is it? Mark Canha, he signed him. He signed Scherzer. He signed Eduardo Escobar. And they signed Sterling Marte to $1 billion contract. So they're out there spending the money. They're not going to make it back. They spent that money. So they're going to lose money on the Mets. And that's okay to him because he's making money doing something else. And that's what everybody doesn't get. And that's where the players are wrong. They're wrong in a sense that you can't expect every single team to operate the same way because it depends on what that team is doing and what the owners do.
Week's gone. We'll see what happens. If they don't meet till next week and they don't sign the dotted line real quick, there's going to be a quick second week already gone. Well, I guess the first 2 series are gone. We will obviously keep everyone up to date here. Everyone watching and listening, thank you. That's our baseball talk for now.
Hey, the KBO starts April 2nd, by the way. Yeah, hey, for those who don't know, Yasiel Puig is in the KBO, and that's going to be fun.
We have some games to go over here. Anyone following us that are not on our YouTube channel, please run over to YouTube at East Coast Sports Investors. Subscribe. It's free. And you can smash the like button too if you'd like. Our loyal listeners there. Scotty, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games. And I just want to tell everyone on Don Best, as I was going through the 40 notices when I got up to the studio, I saw Kevin Durant probable. Now, I don't know when Brooklyn plays next, but I guess he's on his way back, Scotty.
Yeah, well, that's good news for that team. I mean, that team could use him. Obviously, he's one of the best players that's ever played in the NBA. So that's good news for them. And I would tell you this. Yesterday I played 2 totals, both unders. One came in, one didn't. And I'm learning a little bit more about some of these teams that my numbers tell me are good to go. But today I just can't get off of this game, so I'm going to go ahead and play it. I am going to be playing, rotation 581, 582. I'm going to take the Milwaukee team today at -4.5 against the Miami Heat. And, Miami played last night, and I think that they're one of those teams that, is just one of these spots where they don't score enough to – they play great defense, but they don't score enough, and it's in Milwaukee. So when you got a team that's Milwaukee that's averaging 124.4 points a game, number one in the NBA, and you only got to cover 4.5, I like the idea, especially against a team that scores 114 points a game. So the kind of the caveat here, my number comes out to 116 to 109. That's 7 points. And I can't find another play I like. That Charlotte Cleveland game, people have been betting on Cleveland a little bit and run the number up. There's a flip, and there's a flip in the Indiana Orlando game. You know, Orlando opened -2, and now it's Indiana -2.5, I think. And I don't like that one at all. I don't trust Indiana as an away favorite. So I mean, if I was going to play that, I'd play Orlando, but I'm not playing that game because I'm not betting the two worst teams in the league or some of the worst teams in the league. And then you got all these games where, you know, Philadelphia's almost 11-point favorites and Utah's 15-point favorites on the road and Denver's 14-point favorite, Phoenix 11-point. I'm not playing any of that stuff. So I couldn't find a total in those games I liked. So I'm only playing the Milwaukee game. That's it. Milwaukee -4.5.
I mean, the NBA for the eye test, I think, you know, I know Charlotte's been playing well, Cleveland not so well. I think that number looks a little low just on the eye test. I do see the flip on the Pacers, so I think you're right. Everyone will jump to the Pacers, yet Orlando will find a way. Just like, by the way, it was so funny. Golden State opened up 1.5-point favorites yesterday. By the time the public saw it, at Minnesota, by the time the public saw it, Golden State was 3-point favorites, and they just got blown off the planet. I think that Miami line looks real low. I think they're enticing the Bucks money. We will see. I don't understand. You don't usually get the Bucks -4.5 at home, so that will be enticing. The Utah-Houston game went from 12.5 to 15.5 in some spots, and the other couple games are just, it is what it is. But that's the NBA in a nutshell.
I can tell you that the Knicks and Sixers have $111,000 on the game already, and the Heat and the Bucks have $116,000 on it already. Nobody else is even close to those numbers in any other sport.
And I'll say this, that 10.5 is the enticing one. Philly, when they win, they're blowing teams out. I'll go on record here. I'm not going to play the game. Philly wins by 9 or less. You watch Knicks with a late 3 or something to cut it to 9 or something stupid.
My number in that game was 9.5.
Yep, exactly. They won't win by double digits tonight. 6:30 start. Xavier at St. John's, rotation number 667, 668. Xavier coming off that double OT. Was it double OT? Double OT, I think, against Providence earlier. Bonnie's team, which again is kind of a Jekyll and Hyde, and now they're at home and they're only a 1.5-point favorite. Still 1.5 at Circa, 1 at Westgate. 56% of the bets, 62% of the money on the Johnnies. I lean Xavier here. I think the line opened too low. I'd respect the Johnnies -2.5 or 3 here, Scott.
This is the biggest bet college game so far, and I think that's just because it starts earlier than all the other ones. 95,000 on the game, 62% of the money, 53% of the tickets on St. John's.
Yeah, I think Xavier will. I think the Johnnies come out early. I think Xavier withstands it, and they find a way to win second half. Rotation number 673, 674, Western Kentucky at Marshall. Initially, I thought this game opened a little. It was kind of intriguing, to be honest with you, with Western Kentucky 2.5-point favorites, now 2 at Circa. 85% of the bets, 80% of the money coming in Western Kentucky. A Marshall team that is the herd. That's what they are. Most of the time this year, they seem like they've been the turds. But there is some reverse line movement on Marshall.
Yeah, I'm seeing that too. $30,000 bet on the game, so much different than the other ones so far. 85% of the money, 88% of the tickets on Western Kentucky.
Yeah, not a good Western Kentucky team either, so I'm staying away. But I think it looks like a trap there. The same as the next game, Middle Tennessee State at Charlotte, 675, 676. Middle Tennessee State opened up 1.5 point favorites, now 2, but I'm showing 81% of the tickets, 68% of the money on Middle Tennessee State.
This one's a little more interesting, only in a sense that it's got $61,000 bet on it for a game of this magnitude, I suppose. 59% of the money, 72% of the tickets on Middle Tennessee State.
Yeah, so it's funny. You got those two games together. West Kentucky Marshall, Middle Tennessee State, Charlotte. As our good buddy Billy Hewlin knows, one of these road favorites will win by double digits, and one of them's going to lose outright. The next game, 677, 678. George Mason at Davidson. Davidson has been an absolute cash cow. That's all I can say. George Mason, who played grab ass all day Sunday, 10-point favorites or 9-point favorites, win by 7. I think they were peaking. I think this money and number is to attract Davidson money. I would lean George Mason here. I'm showing 77% of the bet, 75% of the money. But I'm just going to tell you this. Don't get in front of Davidson. They've been a cash cow. They win and they win big.
Yeah, this one's got 31,000 on it, 87% of the money, 89% of the tickets on Davidson.
Rotation number 679, 680. Rutgers at Indiana. Indiana opened at 4.5, still 4.5. A line freeze. Got up to 5 at Caesars and DraftKings. 54% of the bets, 73% of the money on Indiana. Must win for both teams. I lean Rutgers here. I think this is a kind of I think the number's pretty damn close. Rutgers have been playing better of late. They need this one. So does Indiana. So it does make it a tough call.
43,000 on the game, 59% of the money, 62% of the tickets on Indiana.
Marty Lowe, your game. Rotation number 691, 692. A&M at Alabama. It opened at 9.5 now.
Jeff, did we lose you? Right when you're going to do Marty's game.
There we go. The internet's not doing us any justice today.
Got you back.
Okay. I was talking, there's reverse line movement on Bama. Opened at 9.5, now 10. Public's all in on A&M today.
Well, I'm showing 45,000 on the game. 60% of the money's on Alabama. 50-50 split on tickets.
Yeah, be careful. It looks like Bama's primed for a big win. Maybe they'll be hitting the threes. Very Jekyll and Hyde. When they're hitting the threes, they can play with anyone. When they're clanking them, it's dog day central there. I'll speed this up a little here. 701, 702. UConn at Creighton. Creighton 9.5-point underdogs. 1 at UConn. Now without their best player, Nembhard, or one of their best players. They're showing you a line that opened at 5. It really did open at 4, and it's staying at 4. I expect UConn to win today, get a little revenge here, but this number is not getting off 4, Scotty.
Yeah, this one shows 65,000 on the game, 56% of the money on Creighton, 54% of the tickets on UConn.
I think the number's spot on. I expect UConn to win. I'm hoping they win by 4 or more, but at least get the win there. LSU, Arkansas, 705, 706 rotation number. I think this is a trap number. Opened at 5.5, still 5.5, yet 53% of the bets, 63% of the money on Arkansas. I think LSU's a live dog here, Scotty.
This is same thing. $68,000 bet on the game, 64% of the money, 54% of the tickets on Arkansas.
Wichita State, Tulsa, 709, 710. Wichita State opened at 2, now 3. 82% of the bets, 91% of the money on the Shockers. This is a trap. This one smells to holy heaven.
Nobody wants to bet this game, Jeff. $5,300 on the game, 56% of the money on Wichita State, 61% of the tickets on Tulsa.
Okay. 7-11, 7-12. Auburn and Mississippi State, same thing. Auburn opened at 3, now 3.5, 4 across most of the Vegas Strip. 77% of the bets, 70% of the money on Auburn. Buyers beware.
69,000 on the game, 70% of the money, 85% of the tickets on Auburn.
Yeah, I think just be careful there. I think Mississippi State's a live dog. Auburn has struggled down the stretch here. And last but not least in hoops, rotation number 721, 722, Wyoming at UNLV. What really surprised me here is UNLV opened at 2 early this morning, went down to a pick'em, now back to 1.5. 63% of the bets, 53% of the money on Wyoming.
Yeah, $24,000 on the game. Still got a lot of time to build that one up some. But 63% of the money on UNLV, 63% of the tickets on Wyoming.
Yeah, be careful there. Wyoming coming off a home loss. I don't know which UNLV team you'll get there. It just smells a little there. I think UNLV finds a way to win, but Wyoming's kind of like Davidson, been that cash cow all year. In the NHL, myself and Andrew broke down this pretty well. We talked about the Rangers tonight, coming off a home loss Sunday. Rotation number 63-64. The Blues opened at 120. Now the Rangers and Blues are minus 105 each. 60% of the bets, 87% of the money on St. Louis. Yet the Rangers are now minus 105.
Well, this shows 44,000 on the game. 66% of the money, 56% of the tickets on the New York Rangers.
Yeah, I lean Rangers here in a bounce back at home. They've lost 2 in a row. Rotation number 65-66, Kings at Dallas. I talked yesterday about the Columbus Blue Jackets. Opened at 150, closed at 111. I talked about respecting the opening line. I'm saying the same here with Dallas. They opened at 150, now down to 130, with the Kings receiving 57% of the bets and 63% of the money.
Yeah, this shows totally different than that. This shows $38,000 bet on the game, so the smallest hockey game. 77% of the money, 69% of the tickets on Dallas.
So there's reverse line movement there. I will stay away there. So in hockey, I do have a nice lean on the Rangers. So internet struggling, apologies, but we're to that time and segment of our show, Webby's Words of Wisdom.
Yeah, today I thought it would be a good idea to talk about what a bad decision is versus what a bad result is, because they're two different things. And one of the quotes that I pulled out that I thought was pretty cool says, you only have to do a few things right in your life so long as you don't do too many things wrong. It's the importance of avoiding bad decisions versus understanding that a bad result doesn't always mean that you had a bad decision. It's important to make good choices and good decisions, but it's just as important to avoid missing bad ones. So let's talk about that for a second. So what is a bad decision? A bad decision is a failure to follow a sequence of considerations and to ascertain the previous outcome, our preferred outcome. I'm sorry. So a failure is to follow a sequence of considerations to a certain preferred outcome, and then you don't get the result that you want. So don't confuse a bad decision for a bad outcome, because the decision is a process of what you go through to make your choice. The outcome is a result of those things, and sometimes the decision that you made was proper. So the first thing you need to do is be in the right frame of mind. Obviously, don't do things when you're tired or when you're sick or when you're emotional or when you're distracted. And don't let anyone define the problem for you. The idea here is that you should go and understand the fundamentals of the problem. It's best described this way. So if you're looking at a tree, The tree trunk is the fundamentals of the situation, and all the tree branches and the leaves and everything else that go on. That's going to be the stuff that distracts you from what the fundamentals are. So get to the tree trunk part, get to the big meaty part of what the decision is that you have to make. And then seek out the information as close to the source as possible. In other words, don't rely on someone else to tell you what it is. You need to understand what the problem is. And then what do I know to be true? So you need to use a filter. So when you're looking at a scenario, you just go, okay, what do I know to be true about this scenario? And then filter through those things so that you can make the proper choice. And when you make that choice, reflect on what your decision is so that then you can learn from what you did and work through things in the future. The idea here is that you can relate this to sports in a lot of ways. And what we're doing is important, especially when it comes to the bankroll management. When you're looking at it from a perspective of understanding what bad decisions are versus bad results, it's important because you can sit here and not learn from the choices and decisions you're making, thinking that you're just losing because the results are poor. And then you're following poor results with poor results with poor results. You need to go and clarify what decision process you're using. And it's very clear. You can use the life model and business model the same way. Get to the point where you understand the fundamentals of what you're doing, the big tree trunk. Know and be there, and you understand, read, listen, learn about what it is that you're supposed to be doing so that when it comes to making that choice and the decision, it's a simple process for you. And then it's a repeatable process, and you can keep that going forward. And that will allow you to non-confuse what a poor decision is versus a poor result, because you don't want to be mistaking a poor result for a poor decision. And then you change your decision process. You want to have a good decision process regardless of what the result is. And then I guarantee you will turn into a much better wagerer, and you will end up getting more money in the backside.
Having a plan, execution. I talk a lot to a lot of the newcomers that are wired where Sunday when you're up is a free swing. Sunday when you're down, I got to get back when I'm down. And usually you wake up on Monday broke or doubled what you owed on Sunday. And that's about game plan. That's about execution. That's about bankroll management. It is a process, and you and I have talked till we're blue in the face. For some that want to make this a second stream of income, that some that want to do this professionally, yet at the end of the day and the end of the week, it's just entertainment. So what you're saying today just makes too much sense to me.
Well, I think it's just important to what they call it, and I read the article over and over and over and over and over because I really thought it was great, and I didn't really think of it in these words. It's called reasoning from first principles. And I think that if you apply those skills to decision making, you're going to learn what the guys like Elon Musk do, because those guys then go and, I could go on about these stories and different things, but that's not the point of what we're trying to do. But there's a lot of different things in there that allow you to fundamentally understand the problem, be creative and innovative about a solution or making a decision, and then whatever the outcome is whatever the outcome is. But you have been able to correctly identify the right problem, because a lot of people tend to go out and fix problems that aren't problems, and they're not decision-making issues, they're results issues, and they confuse the two, and then all of a sudden they're stuck because not only are they getting poor results, they're making bad decisions. And then they don't get out of that because they think they're doing the right thing. And that's where I wanted to try to differentiate what it is.
That's why it's Webby's Words of Wisdom. Busy week ahead. Tomorrow at 2, we will be with Colton Sloka, talking the line from the Windy City. Friday, we will also be with his partner at 2 p.m., Riley Magnuson from the Windy City, talking Big Ten and some more madness in college hoops. Thursday, Friday night, myself and Scotty will be here at 4:30 with the closing bell, and then we'll figure out Saturday and Sunday and the next week from there. So everyone here, thank you, our loyal listeners. We can't do it without you. Always remember this: if wagering and investing tonight, do it responsibly. And if you have a problem, pick up that phone. There's an 800 number available. Ask for help. Why? Because myself and Scott would like to see you here today, tomorrow, next week, next month, through 2022 and beyond. From myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, from my co-host, my partner in crime, Mr. Scott E. Webb, Webby20 MLB. We wish everyone a blessed evening. Good luck with your tickets. Enjoy the games, and we'll see you tomorrow morning.